Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Sakura chose Naruto instead of Sasuke? Part 4, subscribe if you enjoy the video, let's start the story. Thousands of people filled the stadium. The Hokage and Kazekage sat in the highest of the seats overlooking the fights that were going to take place that day. An announcer stood in the middle of the stadium. Lifting his arm, the crowd silenced. First match, Hyuga Neji against Nara Shikamaru. I forfeit the lazy genius. Are you sure? The announcer asked. It's too much trouble to fight the number 1 rookie of last year anyway. Winner, Hyuga Neji. Match 2, Uchiha Sasuke against Temari. The two entered the ring. Ready? Begin. Sasuke instantly disappeared. Temari's vision suddenly went black. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. The crowd cheered somewhat. Next match, Gaara and Rock Lee. The crowd cheered furiously, apparently this fight had been greatly anticipated. Ready? Begin. Lee took a taijutsu stance while Gaara just stood there. Lee charged and began furiously with a series of kicks and punches. None of them came in contact with the sand boy. The gourd on the sand nin's back had blocked every attack the specialist could muster. 5 minutes into the fight, Lee took off some very heavy weights. The black-haired boy's speed had greatly increased. The sand had a very hard time catching up with his speed. After a few well-placed hits, Guy signaled to Lee. He entered the first stage of the Lotus by opening the initial gate. Everyone watched as the black-haired boy wrapped bandages around the sand sibling. Suddenly he jumped into the air and started to rapidly spin. Seconds flew by as the opponents plummeted towards the ground. Finally Gaara was slammed down. A large crater had formed where the impact had occurred. Smoke mostly covered the entire arena. Is it over? Tenten asked. Sadly, no, Gaara is more powerful than you think. Neji started coldly. As Neji had said, Gaara came out of the smoke. He looked at Lee. Since the Lotus causes physical damage to both people, Lee wouldn't be able to move for a short while. Sand began to knock the boy across the field over and over again. It was hard trying to stand. Man, I still can't move, and at this rate he'll knock me out cold. Unnoticed by him, the ground underneath him came up and wrapped itself around his legs. Some of the earth directly ahead of him changed into 2 large fists. Lee couldn't move, he was trapped by his legs, and all he could do was defend. At the last second, the boy had been able to lift his arms up to reduce a little of the damage he was about to receive. Loud pounding sounds rang throughout the arena. Everyone watched as the earth-made fists kept hitting the specialist repetitively. Gaara looked up at his sensei. When the man shook his head, the beating ceased. Lee fell to the ground in a bloody mess. Medicines rushed to the blood-deprived male. In the blink of an eye they had taken him to the hospital. Winner, Gaara. Next match, Uzumaki Naruto and I forfeit the bug user's voice. Okay. Winner, Uzumaki Naruto. Next match, Haruno Sakura and Midamashi Akira. The boy, who mimicked Kakashi because he wore his headband over one of his eyes, stepped into the ring. The pink-haired Kunoichi did the same. Ready, begin. She ran towards Akira trying to catch him off guard. Creating 3 buncheons, the female genin surrounded the boy. Sakura had each clone seem like they were going to do something different. The real ninja was right behind the brown-haired genin. Somehow he was able to dispel all 3 and attempt to sweep her off her feet. Grabbing his shin, she was able to place a leg on both of Akira's shoulders. Quickly Sakura added chakra into her legs. After she placed her hands on the ground, she began to do a front flip. Midamashi was slammed against the earth a couple of times before he was thrown against the opposite wall of the arena. She's pretty strong for a girl. I shouldn't have underestimated her. The fight continued. Akira ran at Haruno, not fast, but quite good for a child of his age. Her voice called out as her hands flew through a couple seals. Oten. Doryuden. Touching her hand to the ground in front of her, a dragon-like rock erupted from the ground. The male genin analyzed the dragon. When he was about 50 feet away from the girl, it randomly started firing projectiles. Swiftly Akira's hands moved his hands in many directions at the rock. If you were watching the fight, it looked like he was mentally cutting the rock, but showing it physically. Suddenly it split into many fragments, missing him completely. Once again the boy started running at the girl. At the last second he jumped, attempting to kick the girl's face. Sakura arched herself backwards, barely avoiding the leg. After straightening her back, she used her momentum to do a couple forward flips. When she faced her opponent, her skin felt a force. Don't think you'll be able to escape me now, Sakura. What makes you think that? She asked. I have hundreds of strings surrounding your body. 200 strings surrounding your lower body, 200 around your upper body, and 150 from your neck and up. Akira responded. He was right, she was trapped. He must have attached the strings when she had slammed him into the wall. She had to admit it was a clever trick he had used. A loud noise filled the air. The wall suddenly moved in her direction. How am I going to get out of this? Come on. Remember what Fox taught you. Carefully avoiding the sharp string, she pulled a scroll from her back pouch. Unluckily for Akira, one of his strings had pricked the index finger and therefore spilling a little blood on the scroll. It activated when it came in contact with her DNA. Dropping it behind her made a seal on the ground. Sakura's body appeared to melt into the ground when the seal was completed. He sent out a surge of chakra trying to sense where his opponent had gone. Soon his question was answered. The seal had drawn itself on the ground behind the unsuspecting boy. Grabbing his shoulders, the female chucked the male towards the closest wall of the stadium. As she had planned, the strings that attached the wall to the boy made the massive stone slab follow him. Once out of the path of the wall, she watched and waited. When both walls collided, she jumped up to the top of the wall. There was Akira sweating profusely and desperately trying to hold back the stone slab. Akira. Take my hand. I can't hold back this wall. Sakura slid down on her back and stopped right next to the young genin. Pressing her legs against the detached wall, she strained along with the boy as they attempted to push the wall back. Akira, can you reach that scroll attached to my side? Yeah, but I can only do that unless you push harder. I will get it over with quickly because your reserves are draining faster than mine. Retrieving the scroll, he gave it to her. Using one of her nails, she dug into her palm and touched the scroll. Okay, I need some of your blood to help us out of here. Asu. He also dug into his palm with his short nails and spilled a little blood on the scroll. Okay, now when I say 3, drop straight down. Whatever you say. Sakura dropped the scroll, and the instant it touched the ground, a different type of seal appeared. Ready, 1, 2, 3. As soon as they let go, the wall started to descend on them. Luckily for them, they were both small and had a little room before they would be crushed. Disappearing into the seal, they both appeared in front of the entire audience. The mini Kakashi tried to stand but failed miserably. The girl, on the other hand, was able to stumble to her feet. It seems I can no longer move, Sakura. That makes you the winner. How? I have smaller chakra reserves than you. How did you run out of chakra faster than me? I don't know, but that was a good fight. Well, good luck against Zakuro, faint. How does he know that I'm going to fight Zakuro? Winner Haruno Sakura. Next match, Bigato Zakuro and Kan. I forfeit, came the puppet master's voice. Okay, winner Bigato Zakuro. That concludes today's matches of the chuunin selection exams. Please come back tomorrow for the final matches. The crowd quickly left. Many ninjas stayed to help fix the stadium of any damages that may be quite hazardous in the future. Even though it was near dinner time, there was still time to goof around. Sasuke had gone home and everyone else did the same. Naruto, on his way back to his house, took to the roofs to get there faster. Entering his house, the aroma of food filled his senses. One of my favorite foods in the world is pizza. The blonde drilled. Hello Naruto, how was the third part of the exam? A black-haired female asked. Well, a few people forfeited and I won my first round. I will fight Gaara tomorrow. What? Are you going to forfeit? Zaku wondered. Nope. My father knew techniques to seal away the chakra of the tail demons. Yes, Gaara has a tail demon in him. That is one reason why I did not want you to fight him. All 3 of the new leaf nins were silent. Don't worry, trust me. I can defeat Gaara. I heard that they are going to show the last battle of the third part on TV. You can watch it from here. Well, I gotta go. I see you 3 tomorrow after the last battle. The blonde quickly left the house and changed into his Anbu armor. Walking along the streets, he received quite a few bows of respect. Finally reaching his destination, he knocked on the front door. Good evening, Mrs. Haruno. I assume Sakura is up in her room? No, actually I'm right here. Good job today in your match. I saw the whole thing. If it wasn't for you, that boy would have been killed. The girl cast down her face. I didn't mean to kill him in any way. Sakura whispered. Don't worry, he will be alright. Fox chuckled. At that point, the elder Haruno left. Do you have anything planned for tonight, Sakura? The Anbu questioned. I was thinking of inviting Naruto over for dinner if my mother agrees. I could personally go get him if it is okay. That would be wonderful. As soon as her mother gave the okay, Fox disappeared in a puff of smoke. So I finally got to meet your boyfriend. Mrs. Haruno teased her daughter. Mother? Oh, you know I'm just teasing you, honey. I think it's great that you were able to get a good boyfriend. A sudden poof interrupted their little dispute. Naruto and Fox stood side by side. Their heights looked almost exact. Both Harunos put this notice aside. The blonde boy was welcomed with a big hug from a pink-haired female. I'm glad you made it, Naruto. Thanks for inviting me, Sakura. Say cheese, in a voice called. What? They both looked at Fox. A small flash blinded them for a second or so. A picture had been taken and the Anbu had handed it to Mrs. Haruno. How cute. She squealed. Mother. Before the young Kunoichi could grab it, her mother had framed it and put it on a shelf where she couldn't reach it. Still, the 12-year-old girl could still see the picture. The photo had both genin looking at the camera, their arms wrapped around each other, and their faces were just starting to blush. "It's not that bad of a picture of Sakura," Naruto informed me. "If you weren't my boyfriend I would smash you through that wall." Nervously the blonde placed his hand behind his head. "You three can wait in the living room while I prepare dinner." "Okay," the three said. The dinner was delicious, as expected from a mother like Mrs. Haruno. At about 11 o'clock at night Uzumaki left the house. The next day came faster than most expected, but no one cared. The day was the day that historical fights would take place. The Uchiha prodigy against Hyuga prodigy, Gaara of the Sand against dead last Uzumaki Naruto, and finally the mysterious Sakura against the smart Haruno Sakura. I can't wait for the first fight. It's going to be Uchiha Sasuke against Hyuga Neji. Do you think the stadium will even be able to hold their battle? A viewer stated. It would be lucky if the arena did hold up. Another person answered. At least 5,000 to 10,000 more people showed up than the day before. This ought to be interesting. Zakuro's voice sounded. Don't let that girl punch you, my friend. I can say from experience that she can pack quite a punch. Akira informed me. But unlike you, I am not a wimp. Oh harsh man, you need to lighten up a little. There are good things in this life, you know. All 6 ninjas stood in the middle of the ring as the last people took their seats. It is time to start the final fights of the chuunin exam. The crowd cheered hysterically until the announcer raised his hands asking for silence. First match, Hyuga Neji Uchiha Sasuke. Once again the audience went berserk with yelling and clapping. The other 4 participants left the fighting area. Both prodigies stared each other down, waiting for the announcer to say start. Begin. Sasuke charged first, attempting to sweep Neji off his feet. Sensing this attack, the Hyuga jumped up. At the last second the boy noticed his error. Uchiha changed his mind. Dynamic entry. Sasuke's foot shot up and hit Neji square in the chin. The blow sent the boy straight towards the sky. Chakra soon gathered to help the Uchiha jump. His speed was unrivaled by any displaced so far in the fights. Numerable hits were successfully applied to Neji's body. Before he had landed on the ground he wasn't looking so good. Most of Sasuke's strikes were centered on his torso. The long-haired boy activated his Byakugan as the other activated his Sharingan. "Now it's time to get busy," said the cocky younger genin. The rest of the match consisted of a lot of fire and Hyuga. The most exciting part of the battle was when Sasuke charged with his Chidori blaring. That's when Neji put up his ultimate defense. Hakushu Kaiten. The sphere was up the precise moment the Chidori was 1 yard away from Neji. The thing that surprised everyone is that Sasuke stood still as the Hyuga's chakra barrier flowed around his arm. The battle ended after that when the older genin used his Haki Hyaku Niju Uhachi Shop. Usually that would kill a normal human, but Sasuke was lucky that he dodged the very last 64 strikes. Even though the boy was soon knocked out, he was barely able to stand. Winner Hyuga Neji. Next match, Uzumaki Naruto Gaara. Both males entered the ring staring each other down. The pure tension between them suffocated most of the people in the area. "Hawks, do you see that? That gourd on his back has the one-tailed demon in it." "Yes, Kit. How should we start off this match?" "Let's wait to see what he does first. That I activated last night and I still haven't figured out how to turn it off. I will be able to see what he is going to do. We can instantly win if you seal him with the 1-element seal." "I know, but I must use it on the gourd or a major part of his body. He's coming to get ready." A large wall of sand came surging towards him. "You want to play her off, Kaiten? Ryuka no Jutsu." The fire made the dragon bearded its teeth and roared. Compared to the wall, the dragon was not small. It was about half the size of Gaara's attack. The large flame lizard encircled Naruto with its long body. "Ready?" Naruto seemed to be asking his friend. Suddenly the blonde charged forward. Pulling back his arm, Naruto sent the dragon forward as his fist thrust into the sand. Instantly the sand turned to glass. The sun reflected its bright rays right into the sand nin's eyes. Covering his eyes with his arms, shock went throughout his entire being. There right in front of his face was the blonde. "Hello Gaara." Kaiten sound barrier break. Time froze. Flames erupted from his shoulder blades, forming wing-like structures. Time continued, placing his forearms in a crisscross way. The boy launched forward, catching the redhead's chest with his arms. In mere milliseconds he slammed Gaara against the far wall. Only a small amount of sand had helped protect Gaara from the impact. The wall looked normal until a few seconds passed by. The wall around the sand genin's body caved in. An ear-shattering sound surged throughout the entire town. "What was that?" the boy asked desperately, trying to breathe. "Weren't you listening before? It's my sound barrier break. I use a large amount of chakra to propel myself forward into my opponent. It has 2 styles. Fire and normal. The normal version just harms you, while the fire not only hurts you, it also burns you. You should feel the effects now. He screamed as he felt the effects of the attack. The sound was so filled with pain most of the people covered their ears. If the boy's sand barrier that covers his body hadn't been knocked off, he would have been turned into a glass sculpture. Naruto grabbed the singed body by the collar and threw him near the center of the stadium. The blonde suddenly vanished and reappeared 20 feet above Gaara. After shooting through a few hand signs, Uzumaki pointed his index and middle finger at his opponent's temple. The purple chakra launched into the symbol on the left of his forehead. One element seal. Before he could let out another scream, he slipped into unconsciousness. His demon won't bother him unless I unseal it. Everyone was amazed that the dead last had beaten a powerful genin. Winner Uzumaki Naruto next match Sakura Bigato Zakuro. The referee announced. The black-clad ninja jumped into the arena exactly when Sakura did. Ready to begin. Grabbing about 20 kunai, she threw them in rapid succession. Each weapon had a small pink packet tied to the end. Zakuro stood there as they began to rip his cloak apart and then bounce off his flesh. Each packet once colliding with him broke open, shooting a pink powder. Sakura Fubuki no, she stated as she threw a kunai with an exploding note attached to its handle. The powder ignited the instant the note started to burn. A dome of flame soon occurred. Once it cleared, Zakuro looked at the girl through closed eyes. The cloth that usually hid his eyes from people had been completely destroyed, along with his shirt, cloak, and gloves. The thing that stood out the most was a diamond-shaped scar on his sternum. Nice try, Sakura. I'll give you another free shot. During her last attack, she had circled around to his back. The boy turned himself in so he could see her. His eyes were still shut for unknown reasons. Sakura charged at him. Pulling her fist back, she propelled it forward. She had hit her target, which was the scar on his chest. I really wish you wouldn't have done that. The silverfish sphere ejected from the scar and engulfed the shirtless ninja. Dragon's blood, a ferocious voice called out. The huge chakra caught everyone's attention. Zakuro stepped out of the sphere. His skin had changed to a dark grayish color. His teeth had sharpened, his ears had become pointed, and his arms were bigger than before. They looked like nightmares of Soul Calibur 2. Let's get this fight started, said the primal voice again. Akira had just arrived when Zakuro had undergone his transformation. Oh no, Sakura better be able to handle this Zakuro because he is in search of blood. What? Naruto yelled at the injured boy. Zakuro's blood limit is known as dragon's blood. When he transforms, his dragon instincts kick in and he wants blood. Sakura is in a lot of trouble unless she can defeat him. Has anyone ever been able to defeat him? When his teammates were killed, he took his revenge on the village that housed the ninja. You're probably familiar with the village of Jagurta. What? He took on the second largest village in the country of the rock. Yes. No one survived. Sakura got lucky a few times when she dodged her opponent's attacks. She could tell he was just playing with her. Page Bunshin no. Four clones popped into view and created a circle around Sakura. Oten. Doryuden the first stated. Aryumoko the second said. Hyoten. Kakuryudo Fusetsu the real one whispered. Painten. Ryuka no Jutsu, the third announced. Tsuryuden no Jutsu, the last declared. Earth, ice, darkness, fire, and water circle of the 5 dragons. The earth dragon bit her left thigh. The ice froze her right thigh. Darkness attacked her left arm while the water nearly broke her right arm. However, the fire dragon shot straight towards her stomach. Strangely, it seemed to be sucked into her belly. Still, the kunoichi fell to the ground. All of her limbs refused to move. Blood was trickling down everywhere. Sakura had to spit just to be able to breathe. It's time to end this. It hurt, but she still raised her head to watch him. His hands couldn't be seen by her as he went through what seemed like 10 minutes of hand signs. Oblivion final judgment. Making a crater as he jumped into the air, he entered the atmosphere. What am I doing? Winning this fight. A primal voice called from inside Zakuro's head. I don't want to kill her, he retorted. It's too late now, there is no one that can stop me now. There's one. Naruto, please stop me. The silver-haired boy yelled. What? Fox, what do I do? The boy asked urgently. Kid, remember that barrier I taught you? Yes. Do it. Kyuubi called. Won't it reveal too much of my power? What's more important, Sakura, your secret? Naruto disappeared just to reappear standing over Sakura. He pricked his 2 longest fingers on each hand. The blonde waved his hands in the air and made a circle. Then his arms went wild as the blood made a seal in midair. He took barely a minute to complete this seal. Zakuro was about 20 feet away when the blonde finished his blood seal. Gathering chakra, he forced it into the seal. 9 tails barrier level 1. He mentally screamed. 9 tail-like structures shot out of the ground and surrounded the 2 genin. Thank you, Naruto. Both forces collided. Heat was building up and a lot of people had to back up. Naruto's and Zakuro's power were currently matched. Yet he's putting more chakra into his attack. Level 2. Hurry up and knock him back, you don't want to run out of chakra. Fine. He breathed. Level 4. The dome that surrounded Sakura and Naruto expanded and blew away Zakuro. Dust shot up everywhere. Throwing a kunai towards the hospital, Naruto vanished. Winner Brigado Zakuro. Next match will happen in another hour. Please come back and watch Hyuga Neji fight Uzumaki Naruto. Neji was known to be proud or stuck up a lot. Their fight was about to begin when Sakura entered the stadium in a few bandages. Both genins had entered the fighting area. Your fate is sealed, Naruto. You will not beat me. Fate, it's never certain. The Hyuga prodigy flinched at his comment. Nani? Didn't you hear me? How do you know if you're going to beat me when you can't see the future? It was destined at birth. You will lose to me. I don't think so. You are in my way. I will be the one to fight Zakuro. Begin. The official yelled. Naruto ran at Neji full throttle. This caught the prodigy off guard and cost him dearly. With a sweeping kick, the black-haired boy found himself falling. Following up with a skyward kick, Neji was shot into the air. The blonde's hands were forming fast seals as his opponent began to descend towards the earth. Night of 1,000 strikes. Only the people who had seen the preliminaries were familiar with this technique. Naruto's skin started to strengthen in dark color until it was completely black. Propelling himself towards the falling boy, his movements became a blur. He was moving so fast it looked like a black sphere was forming in midair. Suddenly, after 999 hits, the black blur stopped right above Neji and pile-drived him. A small but deep crater formed due to the last hit. The beaten-up genin lay there for a moment trying to catch his breath. "Get up, Neji, I know you're stronger than that." "Too bad, Naruto, that this fight has to end now." "Why's that?" "Because you're in my field of Haki Jukin. Haki Raki Juai Onshu." The boy charged and, as he struck Naruto, he stated. 2 strikes, 4 strikes, 8 strikes, 16 strikes, 32 strikes, 64 strikes. The blonde stood there for a moment as the damage was being dealt. Slowly grabbing a small scroll, he let the blood that was coming out of his mouth drop on it. "You just made a big mistake, Hyuga. Sacred Shadow Mimic. Haki Raki Juai Onshu. 2 strikes, 4 strikes, 8 strikes, 16 strikes, 32 strikes, 64 strikes." After Naruto had finished, he stood over the defeated prodigy. "What did you do?" the confused male asked. "It's a technique that my father gave to me. I can mimic any technique except a bloodline limit. When I activate it, I can instantly use the same attack that was used against me on the person who did it. Luckily for me, that's not the only thing it does. It also cancels the effect your attack did." Winner Uzumaki Naruto. Almost all the crowd cheered. The final match. Brigado Zakuro. Applause. Uzumaki Naruto. Extreme applause. "Hey kid, it seems we have overlooked our friend. Inside of him dwells my best friend and comrade. The 7-winged dragon Socrate. Have you two ever fought physically?" "Yes, but eventually I would always win. However, he is not someone you should underestimate. His strategic knowledge almost rivals my own. Get ready kid, this will be the fight of your life. Begin." The announcer yelled at the top of his lungs. Everyone braced themselves expecting a great attack to begin the historical fight, but it never came. "So, Naruto, it seems that we are going to impress this crowd today." "It does seem that way. How should we start?" "First you can take off those 4 weights you have on. 1 on each arm and 1 on each leg. Then we can see how our swordsmanship is." "Hi." The blonde instantly threw 4 sets of weights that made a large indent in the ground and wall. "Now can we get started?" Naruto challenged. "Yes, we shall." The first impact sent a shock wave, knocking down some of the first few rows of people over. After exchanging a few more blows, Uzumaki slammed his sword into the ground. Ancient dark technique. Shadow assault. Picking his sword from the ground, the young boy charged straight as his opponent. When he was about 10 feet from him, it seemed as though Naruto split in two and began to run circles around Zakuro. Every second that passed, another copy of the genin would appear. Once in a while a blade would strike out at the dragon child, but he would dodge it just barely. As the boys ran, nothing seemed to be affected by his running. No sound was made, no dirt was kicked up, and especially Zakuro didn't seem to be able to move anymore. "Sandame, that boy appears to be able to use the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu pretty well." "You're wrong, those aren't clones at all." "Chakra blade." Naruto screamed. All of the blades increased longer than any sword anyone had ever seen. By now there were about 50 Narutos running around their enemy. After that last statement, one by one they sprinted towards Zakuro. Each time one would finish its 4 slashes, it would disappear. When the real one was left, he stretched his blade into the sky and came down for the final blow. Final stage. Oblivion. There was a long pause as everyone was on the edge of their seats. Zakuro, sorry about that freezing technique I used on you before I started my last. You will now feel all 197 attacks. Thus shot forth covering the entire area, an ear-shattering sound pierced the sky, and finally everything went quiet. Wisconsin, the announcer began. It's not over yet. Naruto interrupted. A minute passed before a silver chakra hand launched from the smoke. Wrapping around the blonde, a deep roar sliced the air. That's pretty impressive, a container of Kyuubi. Oh no. When a demon carrier is fighting another carrier, both demons will emerge to fight each other. Sandame shouted mentally. The scene had completely cleared. 4 silver chakra wings were sprouting from Bagado's back. The people now noticed the demon chakra and froze in their seats. Naruto broke free of the grasp before speaking. Sakura, it's about time you came out. Even though this is an exam, this will be fun. I see that Zakuro can handle many stages of his Biju. However, you will not beat me. If you want to lose, then continue to fight me. Sakura has a lot of pride. If you taunt him, he will fight you. Be careful, you might have to enter your tail stages too. That last attack you did should have taken at least half his chakra away. You at least still have 80% left. Kyuubi. Arigato. No problem. Go get him. So Naruto, I think I'll just take you out in one move. The blonde prepared himself while Zakuro went through 100 signs. Kit. He's doing his ultimate attack. I know you haven't mastered that last thing I taught you, but you must do it now. Both ninjas finished there at the same time. Apocalypse. Heaven's gift. The Genin's arms rose to the sky. A large dark ball formed in the outstretched area of Zakuro, and, as for Naruto's attack, it was hard to explain. There was nothing forming in his hands. Well, actually everyone in the town felt a slight pulling on their bodies. Then suddenly a little flame materialized in front of everything that could be considered living. Vegetation, animals, people, and other things had a little flame floating near them. All the flames were different colors, and some colors some people haven't ever seen before started to travel to Naruto. All the small fires swirled in a large sphere. Let's end this now. They both yelled. Whipping their arms down, their attacks were sent to intercept each other. Naruto on instinct jumped up to the top of the seating area and went through about 20 different hand signs. Everyone held on tight. He ordered the multitude of watchers. 9 Tails Barrier. Level 7. A red wall formed in front of the entire audience, protecting them from harm. It took forever for the scene to clear. Zakuro had finally reached his last stage, the 7th wing had grown from the boy's back. Kyuubi, should I use the 4-element seal? Maybe, that is, if you can get close enough to him. The only thing is that I sense that snake Sanin around here somewhere. We might need him if anything happens. Hi. So do the sealing, and then unseal. I have a plan, and I hope it works. Naruto charged once again with his sword held high. Graveyard of the Fallen. About 1,000 weapons shot from the ground, trapping Zakuro. Thanks to his dragon abilities, none of them could even cause a scratch. Breaking free from his trap, he searched for his opponent. Finally locating him near the wall, the young male ran forward. Gathering chakra into his hand, he attempted to destroy Naruto with one hit. The killer intent was almost suffocating for the crowd. Suddenly, when he reached his intended target, it vanished. It was a mirror. How come he didn't sense it? Then he felt a slight weight on his legs and arms. Turning around, he saw the Uzumaki kid. Touching all 4 of the weights that were on Zakuro, he increased the actual weight of them by 100 times. Quickly, Zakuro's arms fell to the ground along with the rest of his body. Lastly, Naruto did a few signs and held his open fist over the diamond-shaped scar. Forfeit or I'll seal up your chakra and you'll lose anyway. It's your choice, Sakura. Your proposition is reasonable. Fine, I forfeit, but you owe me a rematch. Kyuubi's Naruto. Winner Uzumaki Naruto. That concludes the chuunin selection exams. Thank you for watching. That night, Naruto sat on a hospital bench as a nurse busily checked his body for any abnormalities. Finding none, she said he could go. Sakura was outside when he exited. How is Sasuke? She asked. He is fine for now. The only thing damaged was his pride. Sakura giggled at that comment. Well, are you going to take me out to dinner or what? She assumed, putting her hands on her hips. Is that a rhetorical question? Sweeping his girlfriend off her feet, he walked towards the middle of town. Where would you like to go? He inquired. How about Ichiraku's? You know me way too much. Once they sat down, a young woman asked them for their order. Instantly seeing the stand's best customer, she already knew what the blonde wanted. What would you like, some? Naruto Sakura, and you are? Glad to meet you. So what would you like? Green tea and 2 miso ramen please. Right away. A small crash was heard. Sakura, please wait here. I'll be right back. Standing up, as he informed her. The katana slid its way in front of his neck. Step away from the girl, boy. Calmly he addressed the stranger. What do you want? The girl is coming with us. Who? The blonde asked. Orochimaru, now if you'll be so kind as to. The man, able to finish his sentence for his own arm, was bent the opposite direction and his blade was through his heart. Sakura, we need to get out of here. That second an alarm went off. Just as I thought. What? Naruto, what is going on? She demanded. Suddenly two Anbu showed up. Ox Orochimaru, the sand and sound are attacking the village. The poof of smoke revealed that Naruto was actually Fox using the henge. Sorry for deceiving you, Sakura, but my job is to make sure you are safe. Don't worry, Naruto is safe. Hawk takes Ms. Haruno to her mother in the refuge. Asu. Orochimaru, I know what your plan is. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 2,000 clones instantly appeared. Kill any enemies, but find the Hokage. Hi. They all roared. None could stand in their way as they sprinted throughout the entire town. Some grabbed civilians and weakened ninjas and took them to the shelter. Finally the real Fox found the Hokage. Orochimaru had trapped him in this weird purple flame-like barrier. One ninja had attempted to get through but burned to a crisp in seconds. Report. Fox ordered another Anbu. Oh Fox, Orochimaru had his 4 subordinates use this barrier to trap them inside. Is there any way we can get in? No, not that we have figured it out. 45 minutes later. The Hokage had fought energetically for someone his age, but Orochimaru was still winning. Every minute they would exchange punches. About halfway in the fight they both summoned their weapons. The traitor had his sword and the Hokage had his staff. They've been fighting that way ever until Fox broke the silence. I got it. What are you planning, sir? One of the other Anbu asked. Stay here and be ready for the barrier to go down. Okay. The blonde jumped down to the ground. Entering the building's front doors he was confronted by at least 50 ninja. Get out of my way. He demanded. Make us. Okay. Graveyard of the Fallen. Thousands of weapons skewered all of them. Only 5 more stories left to go. How can I get rid of the others guarding the bottom? I know. Night of 1,000 strikes. Even though there were only about 100 men left he was able to get up to the top quite fast. As expected the 4 sound nins hadn't put up a barrier on the bottom. Kid hurry, I sense the death god. Okay. Sending chakra to his fist he punched through the roof. Grabbing one of them he pulled his prey down. Unlucky for Seiken and Yukin, they were dead before they knew what happened. Instantly the purple walls fell. Jumping through the ceiling he found himself looking at the death god. The Hokage had grabbed Orochimaru and had begun to rip the soul out of him. The snake ninja's sword was also sticking through the sandame. Fox had just appeared when the death god slashed down with his dagger. No. The blonde screamed. It was too late. The snake's arms were cut and sealed inside of the Hokage. No one would ever be able to describe what happened next. A killer intent that rivaled the Kyuubi's burst from the Anbu. The pressure around Orochimaru increased dramatically and the heat also rose by a double-digit number. Suddenly the Sannin felt a hot, powerful hand grip his throat. The man's eyes slowly looked down at his hand. A red aura was literally bursting from the Sanbu's body. Who are you? Your death. Came the anger-filled boy. Only pain seemed to greet the Sannin as life seemed to be leaving. The only things he heard were 3 voices calling out to him. Lord Orochimaru. The rest of the Sound 4 yelled. Both of Fox's arms felt a slight pain. Several katanas desperately tried to slice through his hand. After succeeding, all 3 had a hard time ripping the hand off their master's throat. As the hand began to regenerate the Sound Nins leapt as fast as they could away from him. Once his hand was back he tried to go after them but a small noise caught his sensitive ears. Fox, an elderly voice, coughed. Yes, Lord Hokage. The killer intent subsided and the excessive chakra dispersed. Good job on becoming a Naruto. The old man breathed. Naruto didn't know how to react. How long had the Hokage known? By now all of Konoha's main ninjas showed up. Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Anko, Fox's teammates, Iruka, the Inoshikacho trio, and many other powerful allies stood behind the Anbu. Something strange happened next. As Naruto stood, an invisible force seemed to touch his mask. Cracks formed and shattered the mask. If it had been a normal situation, Naruto would have been grinning inside to see all the shocked faces. I wonder how life is going to change now. Naruto thought blankly. Naruto stood there watching them with emotionless eyes. Naruto, Kakashi started. I will not answer any questions here. If you want to ask me something, find me. It seemed to the onlookers that Naruto started to fade from existence, but an Anbu saw him jumping over the Hokage monument. Suddenly Sandame's body began to move. Staying on the ground, a poof of smoke covered the area. The copycat nin was the first to see it. Akira, what are you doing here? Is that the way to greet our Hokage's savior? What did you do, boy? A random yelled. Lifting up his shirt, they all gasped. There inscribed on his stomach was half of the seal that Tsunade was supposed to fully have. I am a creator of useless, but one that I accidentally made I had to use today. It allows me to take half the damage, energy, or seal that was used on someone. If I hadn't acted sooner, our Hokage wouldn't have survived. What are you saying? Kakashi coughed. He is alive, but we need someone beyond the normal medic nin to bring him out of his coma. But Naruto. The young Anbu staggered towards his front door. He was about to open his door until it swung open. Kin stood there with Dosa right behind her. Are you okay? She asked softly. No, our Hokage has been killed and Orochimaru got away from me. Naruto's anger flared and both New Leaf Nins jumped back. Omen. I almost got rid of the very thing that dictated you and killed millions of our ninja. Kin walked to the shaken blonde but suddenly looked behind him. Naruto, she started. What are you doing here, Zakuro? The blonde asked. I sensed your chakra. It seems that the Hokage was right. What are you talking about? The Hokage is dead because of me. You're wrong, Uzumaki. He is alive, but he is barely holding on to life. If it wasn't for Akira, Tsunade wouldn't be alive right now. You aren't making any sense. Fine, I'll explain it to you. Akira was able to save the third from death. The third, however, is in a deep coma and is incapable of getting out unless we can get Tsunade the second Sannin to come here. The third Sannin is going to leave tomorrow. Thank you, Zakuro. Would you like to come in and join us for a late dinner? Sure. The two had a good feast, but it was time for Naruto to find the famous perverted Sannin. Finding him at a ramen stand, he sat down. So you must be Naruto, or should I say Fox? The white-haired man stated casually. Naruto is just fine. I have a proposition for you. Are you interested? Depends what it is. I need someone to take me on my journey to find Tsunade. Would you be willing to come? Hi, though I have a requirement if I am to go. Name it. The girl known as Haruno Sakura will be coming too. Why? I am under contract and must protect her. If I were to leave, she would be unprotected, and with what recently happened, I must have her by me at all times. I don't see why she can't come. But so when do we leave? 7 a.m. Okay. See you then. The poof of smoke signified his departure. Soon reappearing in front of the Haruno home, he knocked on the door. Mrs. Haruno was the one to open. Noticing his Anbu clothing but no mask, she stepped back. She didn't really know what to say. Hello? Does Sakura know about me yet? No, listen, Naruto. I have something very important to talk with you about. Well, you have my time, go ahead. Why do you hide your identity from Kahona? You may know that I was supposed to be revered as a hero for containing the Kyuubi. You know how the people of this village are like me. I didn't want to be hated my entire childhood and have to have lived with loneliness. Anbu are extremely idolized and respected. I seek acknowledgement and encouragement. Well, Sakura gives you both. I really don't know what else to ask you personally. Could I, speak to Kyuubi? You don't mind, do you, Fox? Not at all. Warn her before I take over. Mrs. Haruno, don't be afraid of what's going to happen next. Red chakra flowed from the boy surrounding him completely. His eyes changed to red with sharp pupils. Naruto's eye teeth elongated and his birthmarks grew. What did you want to talk to me about? The two's conversation couldn't be heard by Naruto, who was in his subconscious at the moment. He pretty much just sat in the confinement of his mind. Walking towards a door, he opened it and watched his good memories. The memory that caught his eye was the kiss that sent him through the few floors of his apartment building. For some strange reason, he saw that memory from a third person's view. His stomach glowed the instant Sakura's hand came in contact with his seal. Suddenly another memory jumped out at him. During Sakura's fight with Zakuro, the fire dragon that hit her stomach didn't injure her at all. Why were these visions revealing themselves to him now? Kyuubi? What kit? I sense that something bad is about to happen to Sakura. How do you know? I just know for some strange reason. I'm done chatting anyway. Excuse me, Mrs. Haruno. I need to go check on your daughter. Placing his mask back on, he climbed the stairs. Entering her room silently, he noticed a man climbing in through the window. The pink-haired girl then walked out of her bathroom drying her hair. Naruto acted silently and took the intruder with him out the window. It was a sound nin. What do you want with her? Orochimaru wants her. His hand turned a ghostly white. Plunging his fist into the man's stomach, he demanded an explanation. Tell me what I need to know, or else I'll increase my grip on your spine. Why is Orochimaru after Sakura? He asked, slowly increasing the pressure. He said that there was something he needed from her. What does he need from her? I don't know, but he mentioned something about some organization. What's its name? I don't know if he just told me to bring her to him. Useless. The nin felt his spine being snapped in half before his body was burned to a crisp. The kunoichi had just finished drying her hair and getting dressed for bed when Fox entered through her window. "Hello, Fox." "Hello, Sakura. I need to ask you something." "Ask away." "I have something very important I need to do tomorrow, and I was wondering if you wanted to go on a short journey to find Tsunade, the second Sannin and most famous medicine." "Who is going on this journey?" "Naruto and Jiraiya, the third Sannin." "Sure. I just have to ask my mother about it." "Go ahead." The Anbu sat on the ceiling thinking over what the sound nin had said. An organization is after her, she has something important to a man of Orochimaru's status that doesn't make sense at all. The boy thought, "Kyuubi, do you have anything to contribute to this?" "I wish I did." "Well, Sakura and you sleep, I'll have a little chat with Mrs. Hirono." "Okay, but you better tell me what you found out." Yeah, Kyuubi snorted. Sakura then entered her room. Seeing the ninja on the ceiling, she slightly giggled at how silly he looked. Just then he appeared in front of her. What did she say? "It's okay for me to go." "Good. Now rest up, you leave tomorrow." On the road. The three Kahona ninja walked side by side in silence. It wasn't until the first city they stopped in before they began to talk. "Naruto, Sakura, I want you to enjoy yourself for today. I have some information I need to get." "Hi, Jiraiya." Naruto answered briskly. The Genin started to walk away from the pervert. "Naruto? What is Iro Sennin? You brat, make sure you keep your guard up. I know, now go do whatever you need to do before we get out of the city fast. I have a very bad feeling." "I'll try. Have fun. Take her somewhere special. Just go." The blonde took the Genin by the arm and led her to the top of a large building. "Do you see anywhere you would like to go?" he asked. "Over there." There were about 100 different stands. The first one they stopped at was one with masks. Naruto bought a very expensive one. The lower half of the mask was able to retract so that the person could eat while having it on. Sakura chose one that had the face of a fox, but you could tell it was feminine. Sakura couldn't see through hers, so she just wore it on the back of her neck. Naruto, on the other hand, wore his new mask with the lower part retracted. Something bothered the kunoichi, he seemed very familiar, but lazily she blew it off. Reaching some games she did every one possible. Dart throwing was one she could always win at. Naruto entered this small tournament that was held every month to determine who was the best in Taijutsu. The boy had the upper hand since he was trained in an actual ninja village. The grand prize was an all-expense weekend at Kahona's finest bathhouse. The boy thought he would save them for later. "Sakura, I believe it's time we waited for Iro Sennin at the motel." "Okay, Naruto." Jumping towards their destination, they did not notice a pair of eyes watching them. They didn't have to wait for long as the Sannin jumped into the room. "Did you find out where she is?" the boy asked. "Yes. She's in a town 20 miles north from here." "Good, let's get going before someone shows up." "Who are you talking about?" Sakura demanded. "Itachi Uchiha is after me again," Naruto answered. Just as the boy spoke, the S-class broke down the door. Well, what do we have here?" "I see you have the worthless girl with you." Kisum spoke rather cockily. "Jiraiya. Take Sakura out of here now." But Sakura started. "Now?" he practically roared. The Sannin almost wet himself as he took the pink-haired girl in his arms and leaped into the distance. So little Naruto is trying to keep his identity a secret from her. Wonder what would happen if she found out. Kisum mocked. "Shut up, Sharky, I could end your life faster than I did with the other members of your organization." Naruto lifted his left hand and 3 rings appeared on them. "As you can see, I have already taken down 3 of your comrades." The shark ninja gritted his teeth in anger before charging at the boy. Sword held above his head, he descended upon the. Sadly for him, the shark nin found his own sword sticking in his stomach and out his back. "How?" he asked before collapsing, dead. Pulling the sword with one quick movement, the blonde sliced off his ring and caught it. The blade tried to retaliate, but suddenly was filled with a dominating chakra that soon made it choose a new master. Naruto had done much study on the swordsmen of the mist. Kisum was one of them and also discovered that his sword had a mind of its own. It will only obey the master it chooses unless it is somehow humbled, in a sense, to choose a new owner. Adding the 4th ring to his collection, he stared down Itachi. "I suggest you retreat for now, Itachi. Your ultimate Sharingan will not work on what I have learned. I highly doubt that Naruto." "Try me," he challenged me. The Uchiha charged instantly, launching a fire. Since Naruto had the demon of fire in him, it had no effect and in fact gave him more energy. However, the missing nin was able to pin him to the wall. Holding his neck, he peered into his eyes as he ultimate Sharingan activated. After completing his attack, Itachi stumbled a bit but regained his composure. Thinking of his work, he dropped the supposedly limp body. "Ah, is that the best you got?" The young Anbu was sweating profusely as he used the wall as support. How? Opening his closed eyes, the old Anbu captain noticed the weirdly designed eyes. They had the usual red color to them and the same slit down the middle, but that wasn't the only thing. On the sides of the iris there were strange black markings extending from the center slit. It was hard to imagine that another eye existed other than the Sharingan and Hyuga bloodline. I will advise you to leave now. I will not be the one to kill you. I have promised myself that I will allow Sasuke to kill you so he can live a normal life and revive his clan. The confused ninja disappeared. Pulling out a scroll, he wrote down some complicated figures and sealed the new sword he got into it. Resting for a while, he then jumped towards the town his sensei had described earlier. Sakura had tried to break free of the man's grasp, but all was in vain. The man's hold on her would probably never loosen. Once she gave in, the blonde instantly appeared beside them. "How'd it go?" the elder man asked. "I was barely able to escape." The older male gave the boy a look that said, "Tell me later." Nodding, they continued towards the town. Being ninjas, it didn't take long for them to finally enter their desired city. She should be. Boom. A large cloud of smoke blew up near the far end of the place. A gray snake rose from the smoke, hissing loudly. Orochimaru, a primal voice, spat. Naruto took off, destroying the building's roof. Sakura watched the snake as it suddenly disappeared into thin air. But Tsunade and Orochimaru. The second Sannin watched as a mere boy took out one of her former teammate snakes. "Hello, Orochimaru," the blonde growled. It was the very first time Tsunade had never seen such fear, or any fear at all for that matter, in those yellow slitted eyes. "You? No, it can't be. Did you miss me, you snake? First you tried to kill the third, and then you put one of your stupid seals on Uchiha Sasuke. What's next?" Flashback. Naruto walked into Sasuke's room to find Kakashi looming over the boy, inspecting his neck. What's wrong with his sensei? Orochimaru placed one of his curse seals on him. So far he has been able to survive the first stage of the curse. "Naruto, I have a question for you. I told everyone that if they wanted to ask me something they would have to find me. Luckily for you, I came to you. To tell the truth, I have many questions, but they can wait. For now, I'll ask you one. Why was I not able to see your Anbu tattoo during our mission with the bridge builder? The future family technique, if you need to know. I would be sending quite a few new Kekai Genkais with these abilities I have." There was a long silence before Naruto spoke again. "Kakashi? Yes. Be sure to get that sealed or something. From what I have learned about the Uchiha boy is that he is searching for power no matter what the cost. I don't know why, but something tells me he will probably try to leave for Orochimaru's if he gets the chance. I watch him. Oh, and Naruto. Yeah? Don't forget to drop by my house soon. I have something I want to show you. Hi sensei. See ya." End of flashback. The Budo watched his master shake a little before he regained his composure. "What are you talking about, boy? I killed the third with these two hands of mine. Sasuke is someone who looks very promising for being my new body. Kukukukukuku. Ha. You're wrong. Thanks to your cockiness, you didn't even notice that the Hokage had someone protecting him from the he used to take away your arms. The Hokage is still alive, you idiot. That can't be true. Tsunade remembered our deal. I will expect an answer in 7 days." As he jumped away, the feminine blonde watched her feet. The boy in front of her lifted her chin with his finger. "Hello, Tsunade." The closeness of him made her suddenly whip her arm at him. Naruto stopped her arm before she even had a chance to connect. "If you'll excuse me. I have something to do." He bowed before leaving. Jiraiya had just finished paying for the roof that his lousy student had ruined when that very same person showed up. Pulling off his mask and sticking it into one of his pockets, he spoke. "She's this way, but we must hurry. I think she is going to leave this place very soon." "Whatever, kid." It took them 5 minutes to catch up with the fleeing pig, a young-looking woman, and their main target. The long-haired blonde didn't look their way when her teammate called her name. It took about 3 times before Sakura came up to her hand and tapped her left shoulder. "Jiraiya, just leave me alone." The famous medic Nin attempted to smack who she thought was the Jiraiya. At the last moment she noticed it was the girl that had come with them. Even with her great power she couldn't have stopped herself. The fist was coming down in a diagonal direction. Before her attack connected, she felt something touch her hand. Watching as the boy touched his elbow to her fist and then followed movement of her arm, she wondered what he was planning. Finally it hit her. He was transferring the power of her blow. As he struck the ground, the crater that came afterwards was bigger than she had thought. Apparently her anger had blinded her accurate accumulation of chakra. Everyone was knocked off their feet. How did that boy do that? She didn't hear the sound of bones cracking. Especially without harming himself. Naruto stood up and helped Sakura up. Tsunade kept staring at the pink-haired girl the whiskered boy saved. "Tsunade? Her comrade yelled, getting her attention. What do you want, Jiraiya? She barked. Just to take you and everyone to a restaurant so we can talk. Fine. Walking into a somewhat large place they sat and were served. First, tell me your names. Naruto Sakura Uzumaki Naruto. Bowman about early Sakura. Some people just don't know when to shut up. It's okay. You're blonde. The medicine shouted. Hi. Naruto countered. How were you able to do that? Reflex. I guess Jiraiya may be a pervert, but he is an excellent teacher. Okay, so why did you want to talk to me? The Council of Konoha has asked you to be the 5th Hokage. Why would I want to have such a worthless job and throw my life away? The past 4 Hokages have thrown their lives away, and for what? Their village. Only a fool wants that kind of occupation. Before anyone knew it, Naruto had summoned both of his large blades and crisscrossed them around Tsunade's neck. Watch your mouth. You dare challenge me, boy. Anyone who disgraces the name or sacrifices of the protectors of my village will be beaten. Even if they are a woman or person of high status. Let's take this outside. Unsummoning his swords, he stepped out of the restaurant. Shall we begin? Think you can handle me? He mocked. I only need one more finger to beat you. I highly doubt that. Naruto charged, pulling on a black glove. Heaven's gift. The boy whispered. Just like before, little flames of chakra came from every direction and formed into a large sphere above the boy's head. Suddenly black strings shot from the glove surrounding the massive chakra ball. The strain of the wires could be heard as the energy was compressed into a softball-sized mass. That can't be it. Before she knew it, he was right in front of her. Slamming her finger into the ground, she attempted to sweep him off his feet. At the last second he jumped. Striking forward with the ball of chakra, she winced in fear. Pain never surged through her body, and when she opened her eyes, more fear appeared. The sphere was inches away from her throat. Before she could ask, he tossed the attack into the air. A few seconds passed, and a low rumble occurred. You were saying? If you're thinking that my attack is the Rasengan, you are mistaken. So far all I can do is this. A swirl of visible chakra started to rotate counterclockwise. So kid, why do you care so much about the Hokage? I will be the next Hokage. She did a double take. For a moment there she thought she saw her loved ones where the boy was standing. Fool. Fool. Is trying to protect the people dear to you, keep people safe, be a person someone can always trust, being a fool. If those things are, then you have sunken lower than Orochimaru. I'm out of here. His body disintegrated into the air. Everyone was speechless. Naruto had beaten Sannin without breaking a sweat. Jiraiya, how was Naruto able to do that? Sakura pondered. There are more things about him than you know. The pervert answered. What are they? That is him and him alone to tell you. Tsunade stood and walked in a bar. Her assistant was about to follow her when the white-haired man stopped her. He then walked in and sat down next to his confused friend. Her friend said, getting her attention. Please don't speak. No problem. You talk when you want to. By the time the 10th drink had come, they were pretty relaxed. What is with that boy? How could he have defeated me so easily? You insulted his dream. How could he not try and fight you? What? Yes, just like your brother and boyfriend wanted to be, that blonde idiot wants to be one too. If I remember him saying. I will become Hokage and everyone will acknowledge my existence. The female didn't know what to say. Hey, I'll make a wager with you, pervert. What is it? I bet that he can't master the Rasengan in 1 week. If he can, he will get this necklace. What? That necklace is your prized possession and it is worth more than anything in this world. Why give it to Naruto? Simple. He thinks he can be Hokage. He has to prove it to me. If he doesn't master the technique, then he is a fool. 7 days later. Somehow the blonde Kunoichi had gotten away from everyone's surveillance. Naruto, have you seen Tsunade? Sakura asked. No, but I know where she is. I can smell that snake bee. Let's get going. Shizune yelled. All 4 shot off with Naruto leading them. They found her in the middle of a large and seemingly endless plain. Tsunade was about to heal Orochimaru when a kunai interrupted it. Kabuto, what is the meaning of this? I sensed a killer intent, master. Thank you, Kabuto. Now I believe we should get going. Oh no, you're not. The blonde Sannin slammed her hands on the ground, summoning a large slug. The snake nin summoned his large snake. Cursing, it yelled at its master. You better have 100 sacrifices for this, Orochimaru. Sure, just kill them. Orochimaru. He froze at the voice. What is wrong with Orochimaru? That little squirt frightens you? Manda killed him first. Whatever. The snake launched at the boy. Pitsayu. Save Naruto. Hold on, Tsunade. Wait and watch. Bring it on, snake. Kyuubi reincarnation jutsu. What is he doing? They all wondered. Suddenly an eclipse occurred and blinded everyone due to the darkness. Manda couldn't see his target, so he went back to sitting upright. Every second was like eternity. It's about time you feel my wrath. The sun was soon revealed. Naruto's appearance had changed dramatically. Red was the main color that covered his body. He had a bone-white headband with the Kahona symbol etched into it. The headband continued until it reached the side of his head and added a red point to his ears. His face was hidden, but that didn't matter at the time. His torso was covered in a blood-red armor-like covering. Two large prism-shaped spikes sprouted from his shoulder blades, while smaller spikes came from his spinal column. Some more blade structures were protruding from the shoulders and elbows. His lower body was covered in the same blood-red armor. His hands and feet were sheltered by claw-like armor. When the boy lifted his head, everyone stared even more. Naruto's features had a red mask that only showed his eyes and teeth. The mask didn't stick out far, but if you looked straight into his face, it would look like a fox. Manda laughed before striking out at the "Now die." The blonde didn't respond. All he did was lift his arm up and stop the large snake from advancing. Suddenly 9 tails sprouted from the bottom of his spine. Jumping on the head, Naruto sunk the tails through Manda's head and into the ground. A semi-large ball of swirling chakra began to take form in his open fist. However, this radiated more power and was seemingly more unstable than a regular Rasengan should be. They all watched as the attack ripped apart the large snake. The Dama Rasengan. Next, Naruto wrapped Orochimaru's arms and legs with 8 of his tails. The 9th was used to launch Kabuto several miles away. "Now Orochimaru, why are you after Sakura?" "Why would I tell Ugh?" The 9th tail entered his stomach. It twisted a little to add to the pain. "Believe me when I say this, but if you don't tell me, I can kill you anytime I want. Knowing you, I highly doubt that you want to leave this world. One of your men told me that an organization was after her." "What is this organization?" the boy demanded. "Ever heard of the group Akatsuki? Why are they after her? She doesn't have any in her." Goku howled.